Have you gone out in the streets and decked a Nazi? Have you done that?
I have never decked a Nazi.
Really? Then you're not helping. I'm gonna fight for the revolution no matter how many conservatives come after me. You all. The conservatives enemy of people. They want to kill my friends. They want to kill me. They want to kill my family.
Who wants to kill you?
Conservatives and MAGA.
Oh boy, this one gets really heated almost immediately, but Cliff does a great job during this discussion, and not necessarily for the reasons you might think. Stick around because this one gets interesting, and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this.
Politics is what we need in order to achieve our material basis. If we don't define materialism in our age, if we don't define what our material needs are, how can we have any sort of moral standing? All right, if you're poor, you work 13 hours a day, struggling to feed your kids, struggling to put a roof over your head.
Right.
What kind of moral society do you live in that says that's fine, that you deserve that? That because you work a 9 to 5 hour job, you deserve that. You deserve to live in poverty. You deserve to have on you every single day. What kind of moral system is that? And furthermore, what has any religious institution ever done to help the working people?
Who defines a system? Who defines your moral system?
The masses. The masses define it.
So you take a public survey of the masses, and then whatever the masses decide.
The masses go by the material interests. If the material interests are met by the masses, then that is what signifies a morally justifiable system. If you have a religious system that just says, hey, guess what? You know, you believe in this, you're gonna do right, everything will be fine in the afterlife. What does that mean for the material benefits of the people now?
So if the masses of Nazi Germany decide that Jews need to be gassed, we gas Jews, right? No, you're talking about an incredibly relativistic culture in which you say right and wrong are defined by majority opinion. Fine, but realize that at times majority opinion is immoral, like Nazi Germany.
That was from an imperialist nation. You're talking about someone, a nation that had overwhelming material interests. You're talking about a nation that had military supremacy in Africa. You're talking about a nation that was willing to annihilate 3/4 of the world population, and they're still around today. People think that the Nazis died in 1945. We still have Nazis marching down our streets, and all you can think to do is pray for us? What does that even mean?
What are you getting so upset about Nazism for?
Because it's back, and it's taking over everything. We have to do everything in our mouth to fight it. All right, what's I gonna do about it? Are you gonna be out in the streets fighting the Nazis? I doubt it.
Oh, buddy. I get more than enough opportunities to confront Nazism.
Really? Have you punched a Nazi? Have you gone out in the streets and decked a Nazi? Have you done that?
No, I have never decked a Nazi.
Really? Then you're not helping. You're doing nothing.
No. I debate Nazis, okay?
Debating.
Why are you so upset? I love your moral outrage, but please explain to me.
I'm upset.
What's the basis of your moral
Because in
outrage?
Germany, they tried to debate the Nazis. You know what they had? Street thugs, brown shirts out in the streets, beating people down, calling the press the Lugan press, the lying media. We hear over and over and over again. Fascism is back, and you're doing nothing. And you're sitting around trying to get an audience about, hey, we're gonna fix everything. You're not fixing unless you're actually in the streets taking direct action. And you're doing nothing for the material interest of the people. What are you doing about poverty? What are you doing about homelessness? What are you doing about people who are disabled? People in the LGBT community.
What do you think Jesus Christ commands his followers to do?
What are you doing for them? You're doing nothing.
That's not true. What has Jesus Christ commanded his followers to do about the poor, about the naked, about those who are starving? What has Christ commanded his followers to do? Do you have any idea?
Brilliant. Just the best possible response in this moment. This man is obviously passionate, obviously heated, but right here, Cliff brings things back to a single topic that they can discuss, hopefully without many emotional outbursts. Cliff expertly avoids all the rabbit trails that his conversation partner has set up and brings the conversation back to the basics.
What has he commanded us to do? If I put my faith in Christ, what does he command me to do about injustice, about the poor, about the starving? What has he commanded? You know?
Tell me, what does he say?
He has commanded his followers to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to stand against injustice and evil.
Then are you a capitalist, sir? Do you believe in capitalism?
No, I don't believe in capitalism.
Oh, really? So
Really?
you're a socialist then, is that right?
No, I'm not a socialist.
So what are you then? Let's define the terms. Because that's what it really means.
All right, I'll tell you what
Material reality.
You
That's
bet.
what it means.
Let's talk about reality. I am convinced that the solution to America's problems and the world's problems is not the conservative Republican or the liberal Democrat. I am convinced that the problem of the human heart goes deeper. I am convinced that it's an interaction with God, a relationship with Jesus Christ that changes the human heart. I don't care if it's capitalism, socialism, or communism. All three systems have been used by corrupt people to rip people off. Therefore, my hope for your future is not liberal socialism or conservative capitalism. My hope for your future is Jesus Christ, the kingdom of God, learning to live in relationship with Him. And when you study the past 2,000 years, you will notice how followers of Christ fed the hungry, visited those sick and imprisoned, clothed the naked, under communist regimes, in socialist states, and in capitalist states. So the bottom line issue is not what economic system do you buy into. Why is that not the bottom issue? Because obviously, guys,
It's not your
the
prerogative.
solution to human problems is not money. Money's nice, but I can promise you, communism, socialism, and capitalism are not going to solve divorce, sexism, racism, violence, hatred. It ain't gonna do it, guys.
Because the followers of Jesus Christ have done really well in eliminating sexism, homophobia, racism, and all the rest. That's totally correct. I've completely forgot about the last, 2,000 years of history? Come on, man.
Yeah? So,
Proof is in the pudding. What are you doing?
good. Obviously, Dr. Martin Luther King did a little bit to fight racism in this culture.
And you just socialist!
No, he was a Christian minister, guys.
He was a socialist. He said it himself.
Yeah, fine. But that wasn't the bottom line for Dr. King. The bottom line for Dr. King was he was a follower of Jesus Christ. Did he do it perfectly? No. None of us do it perfectly. But obviously, Dr. Martin Luther King, in his letter from a Birmingham jail, talks about why racism is wrong. And the reason racism is wrong is not because some state or some economic system says racism is wrong. The reason that racism is wrong is God creates every one of us in His image, which means we all have value, dignity, significance. Racism is a denial of the value and dignity of a human being. It's that simple. Socialism is not going to cure the world's problems. Neither is capitalism, neither is communism. They're all different economic systems. And I, as a follower of Christ, will live within whatever economic system I find myself in, but I can promise you, I will work for the well-being of human beings, not because I'm a capitalist or a socialist or a communist, but because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And He commands His followers, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit those who are sick and in prison. Now, why do you, sir, value human beings as valuable? Why? What's your reason?
Because it's in our collective material interest to watch over each other, to make sure that we all have the basic necessities of life. Clothing, food, shelter. These are the essentials that are not being provided under capitalism. The very thing that you probably support. Let's be real.
You sounded like a capitalist when you started.
Excuse me?
You sounded like a capitalist. Rewind the tape. What did you just say? You said, I am committed to the economic well-being of all people. Well, you sound like a capitalist. That's what a capitalist wants, the economic well-being of our people.
No, that's all. All right, you know how many people capitalism has killed since its inception? Almost even on the table than anything else.
All right, let's talk about how many people atheists have killed.
Atheism killed?
Yep.
Holy You're the most uninformed mother seen on the planet, and a demagogue.
Really?
Yeah.
I know you're probably aware at this point in the conversation, but it's obvious that this young man has his own religious beliefs. He treats atheism as a religion, which is why he gets so offended when Cliffe points out that his belief system has actually been responsible for more deaths across the globe than any other. This is factually true. Thankfully, Cliffe is extremely patient and kind when putting out countervailing points to what this young man is saying. This young man doesn't know it, but his atheism is his religious ideals. Let's keep watching.
Was Mao Zedong an atheist?
Mao Zedong was a leader of the people.
How many people did Mao Zedong, as an atheist, murder?
You had to know?
Good. All right. Roughly around 100 million, Mao Zedong, an atheist, murdered. How many people did Joseph Stalin, another atheist, murder? How many people did Joseph Stalin murder? Okay. How many people did Adolf Hitler, another atheist, murder?
He wasn't an atheist. He was raised Roman Catholic.
No, he wasn't a Roman Catholic.
He was raised Roman Catholic in the Empire.
You were probably raised in a Christian home if you live in Texas, so it doesn't mean you're a follower of Christ just because you're raised in a Christian home. All right? And I like him. It's okay, don't worry. We're doing okay out here.
I'm not playing devil's
I like your passion, okay? I love your passion, all right?
Ask this question.
No. We're dialoguing. We'll get to you next. Okay, fair enough? So, let's talk about how atheism opens you up to slaughtering people. Why? Why does atheism open you up to slaughtering people? It's the same answer to the question I asked you that you haven't answered. Why is a human being valuable? You gotta answer the question, guys, every single one of you, because you deal with human beings every single day. So why is a human being valuable? Come on, guys, that's not a hard question.
Wait, is anybody allowed?
We're valuable because God created us, and God gave us innate value.
No, we're valuable because we're human beings, and we have an innate value that isn't defined by some ornate religious order. We are defined by our common interest in keeping each other alive. And the only people that want to destroy that are the enemies of the people, and they should be destroyed in a revolution. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Shut the up.
Is that respecting the people?
Counter-revolutionaries are not going to be respected, and I will fight to defend that. I will fight in the streets. I will fight here. I'll fight anywhere. I'm going to fight for the revolution, no matter how many conservatives come after me. You can kill me, but there will be 10 more in my place. You all, the conservatives, enemy of the people.
Wait, now wait a second. Is that respect for people?
Who cares about respect? They want to kill my friends. They want to kill me. They want to kill my family.
Who wants to kill you?
Conservatives and MAGA chuds. That's what we're talking about.
The conservatives.
The homophones. I don't want to kill you.
Nobody here wants to kill you, sir.
Yeah, maybe you're not you love, but you and your MAGA chud friend.
No, sir.
Maybe can't be.
No, nobody here wants to kill you.
The enemy just being a bro. Gotta say is that God's love is not this, right? You yelling at this dude, you trying to debate people, that's not God's love, my children. Come on. What I ever did, we bet each other. Well, I'm not, if we all started saying, hey, bro, that's a black shirt, bro. This is a beautiful shirt. This is a beautiful day. This. We can understand that it's all right, bro.
Hey, let me ask you something. Does Texas State give you guys a fascination with the F-bomb? What's going on, guys? How do you guys communicate?
Y'all are just attacking each other. We're debating, not fighting.
Whoa, what's your fascination with the F-bomb?
Huh?
What's your fascination with the F-bomb? Why do you sprinkle it so liberally in all your speech? Why? Shit. You got to use the F-bomb in order to communicate past.
I'm sorry, why are you spouting respectability politics? That has nothing to do with the actual positions that we're representing.
Sir, when you
just get super hair, nice shirt, and a sweater vest like Mr. Rogers doesn't mean that your points are more valid than mine.
I am not Mr. Rogers, you don't have to worry. I was given this sweater, I didn't buy it, I was given it to wear.
I'm not knocking your style, I'm just saying if you're going for respectability politics, let's lay it all out there.
Sure, I'm not going for respectability politics.
Really? Because you just said a second ago that you don't want people to say a common term in the vernacular. Really?
All right, I'll tell you why. Why don't you ask me why do I object to that?
Why do you object to it?
Thank you for asking that great question. I object to that because I am convinced that sex is a beautiful gift from God, which means to trivialize sex is wrong. I was at the University of Arizona, and a guy raised his hand and said, I like date rape. I said, all right, I understand, but how can you justify date rape? And he said, I justify it by understanding that I have a very high testosterone level. That's why date rape is good.
Yeah, what the
That's a trivialization of sex and of a woman. And to trivialize sex and to trivialize a woman.
You're 2 points right there. See, that's a ridiculous trick. Anyone who watches politicians, this is exactly what the they do. They try to manipulate their speech by like saying a bunch of different things that have nothing to do with each other and try to conflate the other thing in order to make it seem like the other person has that viewpoint. I said nothing about women. I said nothing about the sanctity of sex. I said nothing about it. I said that it's a common vernacular. And the fact that you're trying to trivialize it and you're trying to make it look like I hate women or I hate sex, it's bull. And you know it. You're doing it and you know it.
Stop doing that. You are lying, sir. You're out of touch with reality. And that's sad.
What I have to say about this debate might actually shock you, but I actually really appreciate this young man. Listen, there was no convincing him of anything that he got wrong. Whether it's the greatness of the Christian belief system and its importance on the founding of America, capitalism actually being the main force behind drastically reducing poverty across the world, or the fact that atheism is a worldview that only brings about death and destruction. All of these things are true, and I could have jumped in at dozens of times to point this out during the conversation and to fact check that young student. And Cliffe could have done the same as well, but it wouldn't have made any difference. He was out there to pick a fight, as witnessed by the interaction at the end when Cliffe simply was trying to explain why he doesn't like the F word, and the young student somehow twisted that logic into Cliffe trying to associate him with supporting that obviously wasn't what Cliffe was trying to do, and any rational person could have seen that, but all that student wanted to do at that point was to pick a fight. And probably the main reason for that is because he actually has a deep amount of care for injustices he sees around the world. Keep that in mind when you interact with completely unreasonable people like him. It's hard to do, and I don't think I've ever myself done it perfectly, or have ever done it even as well as Cliffe had there. But just remember that students like him are passionate and they're mad. They actually care about people. They're actually seeking justice for what they see as injustices. They're just confused as to the proper way to actually achieve true justice. Remember to do as Cliffe does. Treat them with love and respect, and be aware that while you might not change their mind, you might have an impact on those around who are watching.